Yeah. What up, what up? DJ Immortal in the house, what's good? Yo, 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 yo. Test, test, test. Welcome to the first edition of Scratch Sessions. My name is DJ Immortal, director of Scratch DJ Academy Miami. What's up? I'm out here in the back room broadcasting from Scratch Miami. This is where we do all of our online lessons. This is where I've spent most of my time over the past few months doing online lessons. Something we're really excited about offering now. If you don't know, we have online lessons. We're teaching. Up until now, unless you lived close by one of our locations, it's been pretty difficult to take classes or get involved with Scratch. So now we're bringing the lessons to you. So, whether you're a beginner DJ or experienced DJ, you can schedule lessons with us online. Any gear, any genre, any software, we have instructors all around the country that are available for online lessons. So make sure you check it out. It's academy.scratch.com, and you could schedule those lessons. We also have all kinds of other offerings, kids programming. We're even doing a virtual after-school program. So make sure you check out the website. And of course, we're back open now. So, the Academy's open, so you can do in-person classes as well now too. So, we're following our CDC guidelines here. So disinfecting all the equipment before and after each use. Only allowing up to 10 people at the Academy at any one time. So doing everything we can to stay safe in this pandemic and keep on moving forward with the lessons. So it's been great. We haven't had any issues, and so we're open. If you'd like to come by and check out some, schedule some lessons or get some information, check out the Academy. Either way, hit us up. So today's the first episode of Scratch Sessions. Pretty much we want to just get online and tell you guys and discuss a little bit about what we teach here on a regular daily basis. So I wanted to kick it off with topic transitions today. Pretty common transitions we're going to go over today. Pretty basic. I was going to start off pretty basic. This is our first episode. But yeah, transitions is something we're all trying to get better at, always practicing. So, I figure whether you're a brand new DJ or experienced DJ, everyone could get a little bit out of this. If you've been DJing for a while, some of this stuff is probably going to be review for you. But we could all use a refresher when it comes to transitions. And but if you're a brand new DJ, this should be pretty helpful. So hopefully it is. We're just going over some of the most common transitions. Your transitions in selection are pretty much everything. Like I said, we're all trying to get better at these. So it's good to just brush up. In our level 1 classes, when we really go over the fundamentals of DJing, beat matching, basic music theory, beats and bars, basic scratching, all the ins and outs of the fundamentals of DJing, some of the history, all that's in level 1. Once DJs get to level 2, that's when most of our students either jump on a Serato, Tractor, record box, and start putting together their first set. And that's where we really start getting deep into phrasing and using beats and bars to get smooth mixes, and really getting into cleaning up your mixes with little transition tricks. So that's why I'm just going to show you a few of these. I'll just jump in one of my playlists here and play a few tracks for you guys, and just try to do my best to showcase some basic, most common transitions that I usually do when I'm just playing a party, and hopefully I don't mess up. All right, let's do it.
Just like music. No doubt. Oh, baby.
truly. Take good care of me like it's her duty. Want you right by my side, night and day. No letting go, no holding back, because you are my lady. When I'm with you, it's all I've asked. Girl, I'm so glad. I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I.
Not trying to claim things I haven't earned, honest man. Slick Rick and Outkast is on this jam. What kid diamond on the 2-2 grand? Trying to help raise our youth to man. Skip the ruler Rick, his space to slam. Help clean up this land. The reputation of this man's hand.
Smooth it out. This is a story about the drifter who waited for the worst cause the best lived cross town. Who never planned on having, so didn't. Why me, huh?
I reminisce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't too bad. So yeah, just some common transitions. Like I said, most of the times with these transitions, you don't really have them planned out. You have some that you do, and you just sort of spontaneously do them. So I was just trying to do my best to show a few of the different styles that I usually do. But like I said, nothing crazy. Just some basic transitions. I'd probably play some of these songs longer, but I'm just trying to just jump right to the transitions just to show you guys and not get kicked off YouTube also. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, so that's sort of what I wanted to talk about in this episode of Scratch Sessions, is really just a discussion and a short showcase about transitions. So obviously, to get good transitions, you have to know beat matching, of course, and basic beats and bars. That's what we go over in our level 1 class. So we're just going to skip over that. We're going to have more episodes where we'll dive deeper into just some of the basics. But assuming you know beat matching and beats and bars, and you can get your songs to connect perfectly, we call it phrasing. A good rule of thumb when you're transitioning from one song to the next, sort of like the 3 most important things, I would say the beat match is most important. As soon as that starts falling off, you can't dance to the tracks. You've all heard a train wreck where the tracks aren't beat matching correctly. So you want to avoid that at all costs. Not even an option. I see a lot of new DJs, like when a song starts drifting and falling off, they start turning all the knobs and hitting effects and samples, and you really can't disguise a bad beat match. So don't even try to do it. If you start doing some effects over here and you notice the beat match is drifting, just take a second, fix it immediately, and just be done with it. Don't try to just cover it up. So the beat match is the most important. Obviously, we're trying to keep people dancing. So the beat match. Second, I would say the volume balance and the EQs. So we'll get into some of those basics here. But, you've all seen DJs come in with the next song blasting too loud or too low. So, and that can sort of take away from your nice mix. So you want to just try to keep your volumes balanced and use your EQs, mostly killing the bass, making room for the next track. And then, of course, you want to phrase the songs correctly and get the songs to connect at the perfect time. So you want to make sure you're doing everything where it makes sense musically. When the songs connect right at the perfect time, that's when you get the big reaction from the crowd, and that's what we're trying to do. So we'll get into more of that later on, but I just want to get right into these transitions. Also, you can argue that song selection is the most important of all these, and I would agree for sure. So let's just assume you're playing all the right songs for wherever you're DJing at the time. So a little bit about the transitions. Excuse me. I'm using some edits here and some originals, some edits. So obviously, no secret at this point that Serato and Ableton and a lot of these MP3 pools have changed the DJ game for sure, where we have DJ edits versus originals. I'm not gonna lie, I have like subscriptions at like 4 or 5 different MP3 pools. And it's super useful for me. Obviously, if you need the clean versions, if you're on the radio, if you're doing a corporate event or something, obviously the intro edits, the redrums, the acapellas, like we're gonna get into a lot of that in later episodes, live remixing, and some more advanced things you can do. But it's definitely helpful having the intro edit nowadays, being able to use the beats and bars to phrase the songs in perfectly. So one of the most common ways of doing it is just your intro and your chorus. So again, you're just using the beats and bars to connect the tracks at the perfect time. And I really think this is one of those sort of big things that's like a big difference between like a professional DJ and someone just sort of dropping songs anywhere with no method. And if you have vocals overlapping on top of each other and things like that, it's no good. So when you're phrasing, it pretty much just starts with an idea, and then you use the beats and bars to make it happen. So typically, like I said, you would mix your intro of your incoming song on top of the chorus of the outgoing song. It's really basic. You just subtract the intro of the incoming song from the chorus of the outgoing song. A lot of times you have 8-bar intros, 8-bar choruses. So when it's like that, it's a no-brainer. Sometimes you may have longer intros, shorter choruses. So you find a workaround to make it phrase perfectly. So cue points are super important. They keep you on track. They allow you to play quick. I played vinyl for many, many years, like before Serato and all that. So this was a lot tougher. Having 2 copies of every record, you might use the instrumental to bring in a track and then drop the original version after that. So it was a lot of tricks. I was always trying to find a workaround. Having the cue points now, super convenient. So I'll just give you a little rundown of how I do my cue points. And again, everyone does this a little bit different. This is an art form, so everyone has their own style. So I can just show you how I usually do it. Again, if you're an experienced DJ, a lot of this is probably a review for you. But for the new DJs, you're definitely going to want to know some of this stuff. So my first cue point is typically always my 8-bar intro. If I'm using a DJ edit, my first cue point is my 8-bar intro. So in a perfect world, I'm going to have those 8 bars to mix in. Everything will be fine, hopefully. My second cue point is usually always my 4-bar intro. And this is crucial. I don't know if you noticed just before when I was playing some tracks, but I was using the 4-bar intro a lot. When you're quick mixing, it's really helpful to have the 4-bar. It can also help you save a mix. I don't know if any of you guys have ever gone to drop in a song in the headphones, and you go to drop it in, and you're like, oh damn, it's paused. I forgot I paused it, and then you're just like, okay, well, I can catch this mix on the next chorus, or you could just jump to your 4-bar intro, wait a couple seconds, and jump in halfway and still save the mix. So I do that a lot, like I said, for that, and then also for quick mixing as well. My third cue point is typically my vocal coming in, either the first verse or the first chorus or some sort of significant drop in the song. So that serves almost as like a reminder. By the time I get to this point in the song, I want to be completely done with the previous track. And then sometimes I also go back to that third cue point for some beat juggling or a slam or some trick mixing or whatever. So that third cue point also works for that as well. My fourth cue point and all the ones after that are usually just different choruses throughout the track or any other significant parts in the song that I want to be able to get to quickly. So that's sort of my method. It's pretty basic. So again, just to run through some of the transitions that I had just done, the most common is just killing the bass. So I'm sure you noticed pretty much every mix, as I'm bringing in the new track, I kill the bass to the previous song. This is your most common transition, I would say, for all genres of music, any equipment. It just makes sense. You're trying to make room for this new beat. And if you have two songs mixing at full volume with the basses up and everything, it's just a little too much. It could sound muffled, distorted, and pretty much the idea, like I said, is just making room for this new song. So when you kill the bass to a track, you can still, sing along to the vocals and the melodies, but now you're bobbing your head to this new beat that you're bringing in. So it's just a smoother way of transitioning for sure. So I do that pretty much every single time I mix in a song, sort of like instinct. Another transition little trick is just adding effects. So again, this is all just sort of like icing on the cake. Obviously, your beat matching and your volume balance and your positioning, your song selection, all that, your phrasing, that's all the most important. Really, you can get by and do a good job just doing that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of great DJs that don't do a whole lot of extra stuff with effects and scratching, and it's all good. It's that's up to you. But again, this is all sort of icing on the cake. So you got to make sure you have your beat matching and all your other basics down pat. Then you would start adding some flair to your transitions using some effects. So probably the most popular one nowadays is the filter. So just adding a little bit of filter. This is a combo filter. So to the left, it's a low pass. To the right, it's a high pass. So I kind of throw that in there sometimes during the transition. And then I also will add some echo. So those are the two effects I use a lot, filter and echo. I don't get into a whole lot of other effects myself, but there's plenty more you could use in Serato and all the other softwares. Honestly, I combined a lot of these effects. So again, it's a spontaneous thing that I just sort of do at the moment. Kill the bass. Then I might throw some echo, I might throw some filter, I might do some scratching. It's all right then in that moment. So yeah, that's how I do it. Anyways, a few others. Backspin, that's sort of like a classic one. One thing you want to remember when you do the backspin is to start bringing the volume down first before you start pulling back the record. Because if you have the volume all the way up, you start pulling back the record really fast. For one, it adds even more volume when you pull it back quickly, and it ends up just sounding like a mistake. So you want the backspin sort of like fading away in the background. So just to show you. It kind of sounds cool like in the background. So just remember to start bringing the volume fader down a little bit before, then start doing the backspin. As you're backspinning, just continue to bring the volume all the way down. I usually throw some echo on there too. So that's another one that I do a lot. And I just like adding those little sort of tricks to my mixes, especially if, say I'm DJing somewhere where I'm up in a DJ booth or somewhere where you may not really be able to see my hands. When you hear like that scratch, when you hear that backspin, it just makes it sound like authentic. There's like a human up there actually DJing. So, I like to just add little things like that all the time. So another transition I was doing a couple times was a scratch fade out. Pretty much as I'm transitioning in the next song, I just grab one of the last words and kill the bass. And usually just do like a little tear scratch as I fade out the volume, or even just a baby scratch with some echo on it as I fade out the volume. It's just adding just a little skill, a little extra style in there, and just, keeping it pretty simple, but also like, it's like just throwing a little skill in there and keeping it like it's style. You know, that's all it is. So I like to throw in like, you know, a little bit of scratching when I can, you know, without going into just crazy solos every song. So that's the scratch fade out with echo. Couple other ones. I think I did one loop out with the Snoop beautiful track. So pretty much I have a 4-beat loop button on this mixer, which is super convenient. This is a Pioneer DJM S9, by the way. Some Technique 1200s. This is like my gear of choice. Probably should have explained that earlier. But sure, most of you guys are familiar with this equipment. So this 4-beat loop button is super, super convenient. You know, looping wasn't this easy back in the day. A lot of times now, I just loop things just spontaneously. Just by pressing this button, I'm going to get a perfect 4-beat loop. So obviously, anytime something starts looping over and over, it's almost like you're creating a new chorus. And it's just, you know, dope when you drop in the new beat and create something there. The one I did before, I just sort of hit the 4-beat loop and then and did a little scratch fade out, and then there was like a little wordplay combination there. I don't know if you picked up on that. But so the loop outs is a great transitions. It's one of my favorite. We'll actually be getting way more deeper into those type of transitions and just live remixing in general in other videos. So but yeah, so loop out is another one. What else did I do? Slam. So I slammed in a couple, like the last track, and then I did some doubles for a second with the Snoop track. So you know, slams are something that you'll just do sometimes. You know, even if I have the 8-bar version of a track, sometimes I just like to slam in certain songs. Usually tracks that have a few words right before the drop are perfect for slams. So there's a few classic ones that everyone uses for slams. So I do that sometimes, and then a lot of times I'll double it up with on the other side and bring the track back and do a little bit of beat juggling and some trick mixing, you know. So that's sort of like the classic style. It's a staple in hip hop DJing for sure. So we're gonna go way deeper into, you know, trick mixing and beat juggling and all that in other videos. But slams and doubles is other types of transitions that I do. So that's most of the basic transitions that I do when I'm just freestyle DJing. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Obviously, if you guys have any topics or questions, things you guys want to see videos or any questions you want us to answer, leave a comment and we'll try to touch on that in one of our next videos. So we did have a few commonly asked questions here that I wanted to try to answer best I can. So one of them here is we get this from a lot of students, like first day of level 2. How long do I play a song? So pretty much it depends on the situation. For me, it's something I usually decide like right then, spontaneously, based on the crowd, the energy, and like the time of the night. If I had to give a straight answer, I would say I usually play about a half of a song, but it really all depends. Usually I'm taking my time like earlier in the night, letting songs ride a little bit longer as people are getting there. You know, it really all depends. I'll switch. I'll go faster sort of later in the night when I have a bigger crowd, usually with like throwback tracks. I'll start just flying through them before they lose energy. But then again, it all depends. Like if crowd's really feeling the track, then I'll let it ride for sure. It could definitely be annoying when you're playing too quick, and people are just getting into the song, and then you switch it, and maybe you switch it and don't play a song that's as good. I mean, you know, that's probably not going to work out. But yeah, that being said, don't switch the song before the best part. That's something you definitely don't want to do. If there's a part coming up that's like a significant part in the track, everyone knows, everyone's waiting for, you probably don't want to switch it before then. So let me see. I'll give you an example real quick. So this is a good example. Mo Money, Mo Problems. Classic party track. Always works. So pretty much like the best part of this track is Biggie's verse all the way at the end of this end of the song. So you know, if you're gonna get to his verse, you're most likely gonna play the entire track. So what I usually do is I play the track on one side and then I double it up on the other side.
No info for the
And then usually after the chorus or even right away, I'll jump right into Biggie's verse just to get to the best part. Because obviously I can't change it before Biggie's verse because that would be pretty whack if I played like Puffy's verse and Mace's verse and then switched it before Biggie. So, you know, this is sort of like a workaround using doubles. Or even if you just had just it on one deck and you just jump to your cue point. So that's another reason you would make cue points for like, you know, shortening up tracks or jumping right to a significant part. You could also download an edit that just goes right to Biggie's verse, whatever. So hopefully that answers that question. Another question, how far can I jump in BPMs? We get this question a lot, obviously. It depends on what you're trying to do. Generally, I like to stay within like 3 or 4 BPMs, you know, if possible. If I'm just sort of, you know, freestyling and just going through a list of tracks. But I'll definitely stretch it way more than that if I need to. Like if there's a reason, there's got to be a reason to stretch it more than that. So if there's like a wordplay combination I'm trying to connect, then I'll definitely stretch the tracks longer than 3 or 4 BPMs. It's not something I like to just keep doing over and over because it's hard to get a vibe going if you're changing things so drastically every couple songs. But I definitely stretch it to, like I said, wordplay combinations, or if I want to like double BPMs and actually, you know, completely switch up the vibe by doubling the BPM. I'll also stretch a track a lot for that as well. But again, there's just got to be a reason. That being said, you can't let the BPMs like determine your selection. A lot of DJs are just like going down a list, like playing what's most convenient because it's, you know, the same BPM or it's the same key. But that usually doesn't work because you got to realize like people are hanging out, partying. They're not behind the laptop. They don't, you know the BPMs or anything. I mean, it's best to just sort of jump around and play songs because they're perfect for that situation, or they would go great next, not just because it's the most convenient song to play next, if that makes sense. So, you know, and in real DJ situations, like things happen. You just need to switch it up sometimes. You can't always just like gradually go down a list to get to another genre or whatever. So I could give you an example of doubling BPMs, actually. So this is an example we do in the class sometimes. I used to do this clubs back in the day. So if I have some fast music that I'm playing, you know, I'm in a bar or whatever, I start playing some crazy festival type stuff, Animals, you know. And then the promoter comes up to me and is like, dude, this ain't Ultra Music Festival. What are you doing? Switch it up. Play some hip hop. I'm like, all right, cool. I got you. So this is a pretty big jump to go from, you know, really fast music like this, you know, back down to the slower type hip hop. So if I grab over here on the other side, so I got Paris on this side. So the Paris track is 70 beats per minute and the Animals track is 128. Obviously, these would never, even if I slow this one all the way down and speed this one all the way up, they're still going to be way too far away from each other. This is only 78 and this is 117 now. So it's definitely not going to work. So something that you could do is take the faster track and make it even faster and take the slower track and make it even slower. So, and again, I don't usually speed things up so much like this. There would just have to be a reason. It's because I want to get out of what I'm doing here and just switch up the vibe and double down. So usually during a breakdown, like sort of one of these breakdowns, I'll slow it down. So what I could do is, or speed it up, I'm sorry. What I could do is speed this up to like 133. And then I could take the Paris track and slow it down to like 65, something like that, 66. So let me try it. So problem solved, you know. So I completely switched the vibe, obviously, but I didn't sort of stop the dance because they mixed perfectly by doubling the BPMs. So it's another, you know, cool trick. I usually do this a bunch of times throughout the night just to sort of be more unpredictable. That's kind of like my thing. I'm trying to switch around different genres. So, you know, I'll jump up real quick in BPMs, you know, over a short period of time, and then double down and work my way back up. Do it a bunch of different times. So that time I sort of double down. You can double up, however you want to do it, but uh, it's pretty cool. Doubling BPMs is something we work on. One thing to remember, actually, now that I'm talking about doubling BPMs, is keep in mind that the faster song, you know, 8 bars of the faster song is the equivalent of 4 bars of the slower song, because the faster song is traveling so much faster that 8 bars goes by really quick, versus the track that's 70 beats per minute, or in this case like 66 and a half beats per minute. 8 bars is like a lifetime at a song going that slow. So you just got to keep that in mind. Normally we line up 8 and 8 or 4 and 4, but when you're doubling BPMs, the slower track, you gotta compensate for that. So again, 4 bars on the slower track will be the equivalent in time of 8 bars in with the faster track. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a lot easier to understand when you're setting the cue points and you're doing it with your own music. So yeah. So hopefully that answers that question. Jumping in BPMs, doubling BPMs, we'll revisit a lot of that another time as well. Also another type of transition is just a transition track. These are tempo transitions that you can download on the DJ pools. So that's another way to sort of get you out of one of those situations. You could just download a track that starts you at one BPM and puts you out into a different BPM. And usually the BPM it puts you out at is in the title of the track, which is really helpful. So that'll tell you where you're at once it does make the transition. So it could tempo transition down or transition up. So you got to find some good ones. I have a lot of them. Some I don't play very often. But there are some good ones out there. Check out the DJ pools. You just have to be pretty clever with the tempo transitions. It's hard to disguise tempos changing as people are dancing. But that's something you should definitely check out, some transition edits to help you get out of some of those situations. Okay, we'll do one more question. After mixing in a song, should I bring it back to its original BPM? Well, it depends on where you're headed next. That's sort of the short answer. Why would you bring it back to the original BPM if you don't need to? If you're headed in that same direction with the next track, So if I have a track that's 80 beats per minute and I sped it up to 83 to mix with the next song, once I'm in the mix, I'm not going to bring it back to 80 if my next song is, 83, 84, 85. Like, I'm obviously heading in a faster direction. So it really all depends on where you're heading in the next track or the next few tracks, really. Now, if I was sort of going down a list in BPMs and sort of slowing down as I play, maybe towards the end of the night I'm trying to wind it down, then, yeah, I would speed up the song to mix it in, and then as soon as the mix was over, I would very slowly, gradually slow it back down to its original speed for my next mix. Be careful when you're changing BPMs while people are dancing to songs. You just got to do it really slowly. You don't want to just do it real fast because, it'll be pretty obvious. But I think if you do it like real gradually, people don't really notice as long as you're not going too far. So hopefully that answers that question. But yeah, that's just some tricks. We go over a lot of this stuff in the first couple classes of level 2 at Scratch. Most of our students in level 2 are just starting out in DJing, just creating their first set, using Serato and all this stuff for the first time. So a lot of this information is super helpful, and hopefully it's been helpful for you guys. This is just our first episode. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk by now, so I'm just going to wrap it up. But a couple other things. Like I said, if there's any topics that you want to see covered in one of these broadcasts, just let us know. Shoot a comment in the chat. hit us up. You can follow me on Instagram at DJ Immortal 305. Check out some of my videos where I use some of these techniques. Also follow us at Scratch MIA. Make sure you follow Scratch DJ Academy on all our socials. Check out the website, academy.scratch.com. You can get all the information there. You can schedule your online lessons or in-person lessons as well. But yeah, tune in next week for another episode of Scratch Sessions. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful. That was fun. I guess I'll leave you guys with some scratching. Makes sense, right? All right. Yeah. Whoa. Peace.